consideration to the two of you. And the council meeting is in recess, and we'll move on to our redevelopment agency meeting. The redevelopment agency meeting of June 6, 2007 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. Item number 3 is the approval of the final minutes by reference of the regular redevelopment agency meeting of May 2nd, 2007. May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4 is RA 8, 2007, discussion and possible action on a resolution to augment and amend the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency's fiscal year 2007 debt service fund budget in the amount of $4,990,000. The recommendation is we approve the augmentation. Mr. Vincent?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mark Vincent, Finance and Business Services. We are augmenting an increase in tax revenues for the RDA that we didn't previously budget for, and those revenues are going towards a capital improvement project. A couple interesting facts that I'd like to share with you on this. In the last 4 years, we have seen a 130% increase, in our RDA tax increment revenues. In 2003, it was about $7.7 million. This year, we're looking at $16.5. If you look at the last 4 years, that's an average of over 21% increase per year. Just the last 2 years alone, we're in excess of 32% per year increase. So, again, it's just showing the fruits of the work that you, as the council, and Mr. Adams and his staff are doing. It's paying dividends here.
It's the beginning. The beginning. All right. Let's have a motion, please.
Your Honor, all the questions, comments, and move to follow such information for approval of this item, please.
Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Item number 5 is, and this is where I got confused on the last one, so that's where I made my mistake. Number 5 is discussion and possible action regarding the Fremont Square Parking Validation Program, formerly known as Neonopolis, for Werula Haywood LLC, located at 450 Fremont Street, Ward 5. That's the matter that I had discussed with the councilwoman, where we were going to have the 90-day condition. So that was my mistake, and I apologize if I got the people a little excited there. Okay.
I didn't know where we were.
I know. No one. I didn't know where I was either. Whenever it comes to this Neonopolis, it drives me nuts. Mr. Adams.
Okay, I don't think a lot of background's needed on this one. As you know, we've been continuing to provide extensions of the validation parking program at Neonopolis. You extended for 30 days at last month's meeting, so we're up before you again for consideration of another extension. Right. And I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Rohit Joshi is here representing the owner of Neonopolis for your consideration.
Yeah, Mr. Joshi, I'd like to have you come here every day. But Councilwoman Williams, she's nicer than I am, and she suggests that we give you 90 days for another report. Can you tell us anything that means anything?
I'm Rohit Joshi, Las Vegas resident, and we had a great ICSC convention, and thanks for helping us. The staff also helped us. We met about 7 different developers, buyers, and co-venture developers. I'm working with them, giving them information, and see if they can come back with some sort of a resolution regarding Neonopolis. But I think the most important thing is they're all asking for major developers that I know. And I think I met every one of them in every booth at the ICSC convention, is they get the leasing done and then come to us. They just won't come in here right now to purchase the property or develop or co-develop it.
Yeah, but what happens? Let me ask you this, because there was, I've been told that there's an interest on the part of some major concern to become a tenant there. What happens if you enter into a 10-year lease with them, and then a company comes along, they want to buy Neonopolis and make it into a magnificent downtown hotel? What happens to those leases? I
think that's why I hope you appreciate the fact that we haven't done much. We don't want to do it until we have 3 things that you and I discussed a year ago, which is get an international brand name on this property, else it won't work. Number 2 is create traffic, don't use the existing traffic. And 3rd is don't fail this time. So you gotta, instead of just hodgepodge of leasing and getting things done just to appease everybody, I think we'll fail. I think that's why we kept it all completely open and whereby, and you may be right about that as well. All I can tell you is that we have right now worked on the leasing as well. So I'm not waiting for somebody just to come in and buy it. We have worked on leases, and we've got about 6 tenants at present, very good credit tenants, very much known and will create huge traffic for Fremont Street, additionally what we already have. And I think it'll be a good, by end of this year, we should have all the leases done. By the way, this month is 1 year anniversary for us. So we've been with you now for 1 year.
That's terrific. It closed down every place. It's been a great year, Mr. Joshi.
Well, you're right, Mayor.
It's been a wonderful year for me.
All I can tell you is that we didn't close them up. They were not paying rent, and therefore we kept it closed. But I think we want to have credit tenants that can pay the rent for a long time to come in long-term leases. But we won't fail you this time, so we're going to work very hard this particular year to get you some of the tenants to participate, and then we'll discuss the purchase, sale, or co-development.
All right, well, we're going to take care of at least the movie theaters and
For that, I appreciate, Mayor, all your help you have
the
given
nice
the
lady,
council members.
the nice lady who's running Julian's. All right, the councilwoman.
My recommendation is for a 90-day extension.
All right, let's vote, please. Post. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Item 6, report and possible action regarding redevelopment agency projects currently under contract or in negotiations. This pertains to wards 1, 3, and 5. Mr. Adams.
Okay, this is, while I'm waiting for the PowerPoint to come up, this is the continuation of our quarterly updates on the progress of projects within the redevelopment area. Let's see if this comes up. There we go. And I'll move through it very quickly because some of these, we continue to repeat. We don't need to say too much more about World Market Center. They've completed their second phase. They're 1.6 million square feet. This gives you a bird's eye view, though, of what they're actually putting together with the 3 buildings that they'll have when they complete their phase 3. Our third phase is under construction. You can see that in the lower photograph. And that bird's eye view gives you an idea of how the 2 existing buildings will fit within that third building. And I think they've told us that their general feeling is when they complete that third building, that when you combine the tent space along with the space that they lease in the marketplace, they'll have the critical mass to really start to accelerate the movement of the industry to Las Vegas, that they really need more space to give them the massing of space to really dominate in the industry. This is, of course, the shot of what it will look like when it's all done, and when you put all the phases together and build out their entire site, that would be 8 buildings comprising over 12 million square feet of space. Oops. There we go. Union Park. The interesting thing about Union Park now is we continue to work with Newland communities, both on their rights to Union Park as well as individual sites, and we're now at a point where there are actually very few blocks left available on Union Park that a developer could come in and enter under an agreement. We're either working in earnest negotiations on most blocks or we already have some of those under agreement. I'll just kind of walk you through what some of those are. First is the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. I've been showing you kind of a lame floor plan diagram of it, so I thought what I'd do this time is show you the Bass Hall. And this has been a prototype that the Performing Arts Center Foundation's been looking at as one of the prime examples nationally of what they're striving for in the development of the Performing Arts Center. It's traditional architecture designed by the same architect that they have on board for this project, and this gives you a shot both on the outside and the inside of Bass Hall, which is sort of the prototype example that they're using as a basis for moving forward on their project. Of course, the Lou Ruvo Brain Institute is actually under construction. They're doing their site work now. We've been working with them on the remediation of any environmental conditions on their soil and their site. World Jewelry Center we continue to work with. We actually have meetings very frequently with them to involve all the different departments within the city to move them through their entitlement processes and get them their permits. And this is a very exciting project. Of course, this is going to be about 1.3 million square feet, of which there'll be about 100,000 square feet of ground floor retail space. Newland Communities, we are now working with them in earnest on the negotiation of a development agreement for their first phase of development. That would consist of blocks F and C. in their master plan. If you remember, we've committed Block G to Charlie Palmer, but we are in earnest on that, and we will be bringing that to you probably in the next 1 or 2 meetings. We're finishing that agreement up now, and we'll be bringing that forward. Of course, we recently entered into the agreement with Charlie Palmer for a boutique hotel. This is simply a wire diagram that they presented to us at that meeting that kind of shows their idea of how they might do some massing on the site. They are, as we speak, in an architect selection process to find the most renowned architect they can bring into this project and create some very state-of-the-art architecture for what they ultimately will build for their hotel. We have started the process of due diligence with Live Work Las Vegas, the partners David Mitchell and Barnett Lieberman, on our potential swap of parcel PQ for the Queen of Hearts block. We've done some due diligence on the Queen of Hearts block in terms of looking at environmental conditions and what the potential is for potential City Hall development on that site. Conversely, Forest City Enterprises, working with Live Work Las Vegas, is doing the same on our parcel. We actually have a meeting scheduled them in 2 weeks to start in earnest the negotiation of the trade of properties. This is a new slide that I'm showing you that gives you a bird's eye view of the Las Vegas Premium Outlets and what they're planning to do with their expansion. At the top of the photo, you see their new parking garage that they recently completed last year, but now you can see they're in full force in the expansion of the outlet mall. The lower end of the screen is their second garage that will support parking for the development, and then the center of the development will be the expansion, the outward expansion, the westward expansion of the actual retail space on their site.
Question, Your Honor, if I may?
Yes, sir.
Are they going up above 1 story on that middle section?
No, I think they probably wish they could. This will be a 1-story development, and certainly begs the issue of higher and better use. At some point down the road, they may rethink that, but clearly their expansion is all horizontal, 1 story, and because they're going into their parking area, that's why they've had to resort to structured parking to meet their parking needs.
We're going to be putting in 30 new stores.
Well, we had discussion a while back about the best uses, and you said it in regards to going up as opposed to going horizontal.
In retrospect, given where land values are now and where development interest is, if they had this project to do over again, I'm sure they would have looked at a more vertical development. But at this point, they've been very successful. We're excited about that success because as we start to lease, and this has been something that we were able to do at the ICSC conference, space for ground floor retail space downtown, we're able to point to the success of this project as a reason why retailers should be able to come downtown. The Mulaski Corporate Center is virtually done. They're doing interior tenant improvements. Their planned opening is in August, and this is getting to be very exciting because we now have our first Class A big building downtown in quite some time.
LEED certified.
And LEED certified, that's correct. And, kind of a quick recap, we have about 160 projects in progress. We have 22,000 planned units. We still have $1.7 billion under construction. Our planned development has now hit the $20 billion mark, and we were able to hit that with the public announcement of the Neon Lights Pulse project. That project alone is $9.5 billion. They are in the entitlement process as we speak, so that's been the thing that we use as the basis for putting projects on our list as we move forward to really kind of total up the planned private investment downtown. Walking you through what a lot of these are, Soho Loss is complete. Newport Lofts is approaching completion. At the upper part of the building is looking good. They're now working mostly on the inside of the building. Allure Towers is the same way. They're topped out, looking very good. They're actually working and thinking through their second phase on that project. Jewel is approaching topping out on the tallest part of their building. Streamlane Tower, of course, they just topped out the other day, and we're excited to have that right on Las Vegas Boulevard. Evolution Tower is another one that we think may be one of the next ones to go. Another one that I'm going to add, actually, I just thought of at our next report, is Verge. Verge is another project we think that's probably in that category of
maybe the next project to come out of the ground from a residential standpoint. But I have this one in here because I really want to bring up the fact that if ground floor retail now is the name of the game. The Potato Valley Cafe was the ground floor retailer that went into Loctane, but we now have a number of large ground floor retail plates that we're assisting in the marketing of the individual developers. Each of these buildings, because of your Centennial Plan guidelines, are required to provide 70% ground floor retail. That means that we now have a whole bunch of new retail space that's about ready to come online downtown, and there's a very aggressive marketing effort, both publicly and in our department, secure retailers to come into that space. So we should start to see a bunch of new retailers coming into the downtown, filling that space. We have about 100,000 square feet of new retail space between all these projects within the downtown area. Urban Loss is another one that's been very successful. They've virtually sold out their first project. They're now starting their second project and working through entitlements on the remaining 2 sites. Moving to the entertainment district, we of course have the but under construction public improvements for the widening of the sidewalks, the narrowing of the street, and the adding of neon signage. This was a shot that was actually done on May 15th. This project, though, is actually making progress weekly. The schedule is for it to be substantially complete at the end of July, and week by week you're going to start to see now the major neon elements being transported here from the factory in Phoenix, and they will be installing each of the major neon components as we move forward from here on out. Some of these are going to be enormous. The pedestals that they sit on are gigantic, and the structure for some of these neon signs will be as tall as 35 feet tall. So we're really going to make a major statement in terms of traditional vintage Vegas neon signage in the district. This gives you an idea of what's going on. You know, at my age, I don't do these things, so I don't get to see this. You have to kind of be there late at night, but we're hearing from all the clubs that they're doing a good business, the ones that are open, that there are lines out the door, there are crowds, and we're starting to see the emergence of a district exactly as we had planned in terms of really providing a walkable, usable entertainment district. The Griffin, we actually ran into Aaron Chupnick the other day on the street. He said he's doing very well, getting good crowds, and he's pleased with the business he's doing. This gives you a shot of those two on the outside. I think I want to stress here that these facades were done under your visual improvement program, where there was a very strong positive visual improvement made that you can see from the street. Same way with Take One nightclub. We have now 4 clubs open in the district. This is an interior shot of the downtown cocktail room. It probably has the most nondescript exterior, but one of the nicer interiors of a club. If you haven't been there, I encourage you to go over there and check it out. It's a very nice, elegant interior. And then we are now making progress at 601 Fremont, our own property, with the group out of Hallandale, Florida, Sunvest Corporation. They've demolished the entire interior of the building. They have lined up a club operator, and the club operator is moving through their entitlement process, and the plan is to have a club operational sometime around the end of the year. There's a shot in the lower right-hand corner that gives you an idea of what that club might look like with their exterior improvements that are complete as a result of their project. The block continues to move forward well in terms of their businesses. Post office block, we are continuing to work with the Lady Luck folks on their plans for that block. I think you're going to see an exciting new announcement here in the near future on that one. We are privy to the fact that there's a major new investment group coming into this project. I think our thinking is we probably will need to reestablish a new agreement with this group. Their plans are exciting, and we'll be coming to you with probably a whole new agreement on this project, because it's a very aggressive, totally different new approach to this block as well as the actual Lady Luck itself. The Pint, this is a shot of the interior again, and if you look at the right-hand shot, there's a little window in the Pint. This club on the left-hand side is what is inside that window. So you can see up into the club, but then when you're up in the club, you can actually look down on the street. Mickey Finn's, of course, has live entertainment as well, and they're doing very well in terms of the crowds that they're realizing at their establishment. And then perhaps one of the best-kept secrets downtown is the Canyon Club. This is the back of the Four Queens. This is their attempt to produce a strip-type, Las Vegas Strip, type club, ultra lounge. It's a very, very nice interior and another great addition to the entertainment scene in downtown. Moving into East and West Las Vegas quickly, we are making progress now. I'm pleased to say at 1501 North Decatur, we've been given site plans, we have a budget, and we're putting the finishing touches on a development agreement that we're going to be bringing forward to you for approval at an upcoming council meeting. Of course, we all are waiting a decision on what to do with a grocery store in West Las Vegas. I did receive a proposal yesterday from a third group that was present at the town hall meeting for another concept for a grocery store that would include a Mario's in it. So now we have three strongly interested parties. We have the Food for Less with Hank Gordon and Lorish Properties. We have Tesco's proposal, and we have Agora Realty in conjunction with Mario. So we certainly are not at a loss for proposals in terms of who could fill the void for supplying a grocery store in West Las Vegas. Edmond Town Center we continue to work with because it really doesn't help to get a grocery store over on the 10-acre side if we don't continue to work and fill the void of the old Vaughn space at Edmond Town Center. And we've been trying to get co-tenants to come into that space, namely, as was indicated at the town hall meeting, Save-A-Lot in conjunction with Metro. And we're trying to facilitate as much as we can the private-to-private lease transaction there that would enable that to happen. I'm just going to show you some of the completed shots. These are projects that we've done in Enterprise Park, the RLT corporate office. This shows a busy day at that facility. This is the completed FBI building, which is now a handsome facility and a great addition to Enterprise Park. We continue to work with the Urban Chamber. They've received a commitment of federal funding to build their building, and we're trying to get them through their approval process and get that project started. Expertise School of Beauty is complete and doing very well. Foundation for Independent Tomorrow is in the design development process now that they've received some funding commitments. And of course, Stuart Mojave is one of the urban loft sites that they've gone through the entitlement process, and a closing of our sale of the property to them is imminent. Moving to the casinos, the Port Cachere at the El Cortez was recently opened. They've done a fantastic job improving the front of their facility. And I think I mentioned the Lady Luck that I think we're going to experience a new investment injection into that project, which will cause a restart in that. We'll be coming back to you with some news on that later. The Golden Nugget, this is their pool area in the center. They've now started the expansion of their tower on the street, and that would cap off their major investment and reinvestment in their project. And then Fifth Street School. If you've been by the Fifth Street School, you know we've recently had the grand, I wouldn't call it a groundbreak, I don't know what we call it, but certainly the announcement of the construction. The building is now wrapped with a construction wrap, and the contractors are busy working away at the interior improvements to complete the renovations at Fifth Street School. And then finally, the Bulldog site, we continue to work with CityMark on that. I'm not sure on this project we're going to be able to secure a grocery store. We are looking at other potential retail operators that would take the ground floor space. There's a potential of a very large retailer to come into the market that would be a first time for this retailer to come into the market that would be excited about, that would be just as exciting as a grocer. So the issue there now is to get another attainable housing project started in the downtown area and move forward with the redevelopment of that site.
You're good.
Yes.
Can you give us a hint?
Not really, because they're in private negotiations, and it's a sensitive issue until they actually nail it down. I'd be glad to sidebar with you on that, but I don't want to endanger any of their private lease negotiations there. The parking garage at Casino Center in Lewis is substantially complete to provide a welcome addition of parking in the Justice Center area.
Hold
And that's the end of my report. I'm pleased to answer any questions you might have about the progress of anything.
Thank you for a very ambitious report. We appreciate it. Any questions of Mr. Adams? Thank you once again. All right, can I have a motion to accept the report, please?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the redevelopment agency. No subject may be acted upon by the redevelopment agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please step up, give us your name, and we'll put a 3-minute timer on.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. My name is Vincent James Walter Wiley IV, 1301 Sunset Road, Henderson, Nevada 89114. The reason I'm here is to express my dissatisfaction with your work performance in the community. Number one, the order that the council would have the better interest of the state at heart is to proliferate each and every item of agenda or each and every applicant. They're supposed to be proliferated to discern when they arrive to the United States. The reason I have a particular interest in the matter is because I'm a pig iron derivative. So that means that the drivetrain and the transmission pump, that is what I'm entitled to. But I haven't been getting positive social acceptance because you guys are filing on the wrong tax form. You're supposed to be filing on a 1101 tax form and a W-5 that would ensure that a federal investment is secured. This hasn't been an accurate report from you guys, and it's causing me discomfort where I call for officer assistance. The next thing is that I wrote a decomposition for chromium fusion. I'm your chef. In 2001, I'm the specialty cook that worked the party that joined the fusion together. It was Chef David Holzer. I had to write a decomposition because the record didn't reflect that they had state fire insurance. And that's where my licensing come into play. The overdrive on the transmission will have to be a derivative plate because it's my property tax. I would like to use my own property tax. I think it was Bishop Hall. Frank Church died of cancer in 1984. That's the same year the fuel injector was invented. It's an open and close. If they haven't been granted positive social acceptance, their applications are supposed to be proliferated. That is an order for domestication or opposition to domestication from the pig iron. Now, if you guys are sitting up here on this council, then do something that would be beneficial to me. I need officer assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to be heard?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is John Marshall. I'm the owner of the Bridger Inn Hotel at 301 South Main Street. That's the corner of Main and Bridger. I've actually come here this morning to voice the unpleasant experience I've been through with the visual improvement program. I am not one to complain. I'd really like to think of myself as part of the solution in life and not part of the problem. And hopefully what I have to say here will help others go through this process in the future. Back in March, I spoke with Councilman Reese at a downtown area business meeting, and I was talking to him about all the improvements that I was making to the interior of my hotel. And at that time, I asked him if there were any programs available that might help me continue improving the outside of my building. And he said, yes, there is. And that's when I learned about the visual improvement program. He put me together with his assistant, Susie, who immediately put me in a meeting with Bill Arndt and Rich Atkins. And I reviewed the improvements I wanted to make to the outside of my building, and they thought, fine, this fits right into our program. There shouldn't be any problem with this at all. I asked if it would be possible for me to get on to the April agenda, and, Rich said, I can't move that fast. We've got a lot on our agenda. So that was fine. We were scheduled for the May 16th meeting. I had one item on my agenda that was going to be in question, and that was the fact that I wanted to take out the existing cracked, dirty sidewalk in front of my building and replace it with a colored, stamped, sealed walk that I could power wash and keep clean and make the area look nice. So I was sent over to planning to see Yorgo Kakafis, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, well, I think you're in the downtown entertainment district, and he wanted to know what I was doing with my signs. And I said, I don't think I'm in that district. But he pulled out a map, and he said, yes, you are. So I said, fine. So I spent the next 4 days getting bids from contractors and pricing and putting together the 10 packages that he requested for his meeting and getting approval of that. And about 3 days before the meeting, I get a call from him, and he says, I have good news for you. And I said, great, what's that? He said, well, you were right. You're not in that overlay, and you don't have to do your sign, and you can do your sidewalk. Well, I was actually pretty happy with that news, and so I went down to get my permit. And the gentleman that I was talking to, when I talked about the sidewalk, he said, you better talk to the right-of-way people before you go ahead with that. So I started that process, and after going through about 4 people, I ended up with a lady that told me, what you'll need to do is fill out this paperwork, give us $200, and then we'll review your application for something different than we already allow. I kind of gave up on the sidewalk at that point in time. I was getting a little frustrated, even though I know that it would make a major improvement on my street corner. Next thing was we were scheduled for the May 16th meeting, and because I really believed that what I wanted to do was not going to be too difficult to get approved, I scheduled all of the workers to start work right after the May 16th meeting. I was then contacted by Rich Atkins to tell me that he had not had time to get my package completed, and I was going to be in the June 6th meeting. So I moved all of my contractors off. They're kind of wondering if I'm really for real at this point in time. And I patiently waited, knowing that, I really believe in the visual improvement program, and it would be very helpful to me. So again, I'm all scheduled to do the work on my building. And I got a call actually met with Rich last Thursday or Friday to find out that my application is not going to be approved. And when I asked why, he indicated to me it's because your building is not in that bad a shape. Well, a couple of things. One, it sends a message to me as a business owner that has continually tried to keep my property up to date, invested in it, and keep it and run a good business, that I'm not the one that you're interested in. You're interested in the people that have let their properties fall down around them, and you're going to support them to get back on their feet. Again, I'm totally for the visual improvement program, but I think that it has to be dealt in a fair manner to those of us that have worked hard for the community and to those that have let their properties lapse. So that's why I'm here in front of you this morning. I'm going ahead with my project, but I would like to think that in the future, if people are coming forward and it is your program is slated for those properties that are, just a total mess, then tell people up front. Don't put them through the process that I went to. I could have had my project done 2 months ago. I asked if I could do my building actually over race weekend during the Grand Prix because they had completely barricaded me. I had nobody in my parking lot. Bridger Street was closed on the north side of my building. It was a perfect time to do the work. But I was told, don't do it because you probably won't get retroactive approval. So I put it off. And here I am. I'll be quiet. I would appreciate any comments you have.
Well, we can't
Thank you for your time.
Can't take any action today, but
I know.
I'm going to ask you to meet with Mr. Adams. He's the director of our business development office, and then he'll report to us what the city's position is, and then we'll get back to you if we can give you any kind of assistance.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank him for all the time he's expended already to take the time today to share this information with us, because it is appreciated, and I know that Mr. Adams is appreciative of it too. Because if there are things that we need to fix, you can't fix them unless you know about them, and you help that with us, so thank you.
All right. Well, apparently there's a request that Mr. Adams respond. I don't want to get into a contest here as to who did this and what's right and what's wrong. This really should be done between you and our constituent, but the Mayor Pro Tem wants to hear it.
Well, no, I would just like to meet with Scott and Mr. Marshall. Susie's been working with this, and I had a brief conversation with Scott during this last week, and I wasn't satisfied with the answer. And so I didn't know Mr. Marshall was going to come here today, but I was going to make sure that we was doing all we can to help, though.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure how to respond today. I knew the gentleman would be here today.
I didn't know until just a few minutes
No,
ago.
and
But I would like to meet with the three of us.
okay. Did you want me to respond?
If you feel a need. I really don't see there's a need for it. I think it's just a matter of getting it resolved. And
I would like to say something for the record. As you know, we take a great deal of pride in the work we do, and we don't like to make mistakes. I will admit, though, that there are probably two things that we could do better on this project. One is we waited till too long in the process to let this gentleman know that he didn't meet the program guidelines, and for that I apologize. Secondly, we should have handed him off to our fast track unit to work with the other departments, and that's another issue that we will correct. I will stand here and tell you that won't happen again. I will tell you that we've done 20 of these, and we've never had a hiccup, and we are human beings and we make mistakes. So I take full responsibility for that. I stand behind my decision, but it's administrative. I have no problem if you deem that you would like to provide funding to this gentleman. We can bring it back and process it and facilitate the funding of this project. So I don't want to preempt your authority in any way whatsoever.
Okay, Councilor Wilson.
Well, the only comment I want to make is the gentleman seems to have hit a good point when he talks about himself being a prudent, diligent business owner who tries to keep his property up versus one that lets their property go down. And because he's done a good job and invested money over the years, I'm taking your comments at face value, of course, he may not qualify because he's kept his property up over the years versus the guy that's let it go into shambles and then automatically he qualifies. That's a good point that we should look at.
Okay, anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would anybody else like to be heard? All right, then the Redevelopment Agency meeting is adjourned, and we'll see you back here at, let's say, 1:15.